What up? When you hear them dogs barking, I mean the pound is in the building. I am Bobby G. This is GameTime216. All Cleveland, all day. Yes, today I am solo dolo. That's because, hey, I hear y'all on the East Coast and the Midwest and everywhere else in America is going through it with the snow. My co-host, Big Mike, dealing with the same. So, he had to handle his business, take care of his family, make sure everybody's good. And, hey, I'm praying for all y'all in that snow. There's a reason why I moved to Las Vegas. I ain't seen snow in so long, and I hope I never see it again, bro. But hey, like I said, I'm praying with y'all. I know what y'all going through. Born and raised in Cleveland, so yeah, I feel all y'all pain. And for when I was in the Air Force, spent 4 years in freaking Cheyenne, Wyoming. Never again, never again. But hey, even on the mic solo, I'm gonna do my best, to entertain y'all and get y'all through this blizzard season. So, a lot of stuff to talk about. We gonna talk about it. And get to it. Yeah, the Browns curtain search is a mess. As y'all probably heard, one name withdrew who a lot of people thought was a hot name on the ticket, and a lot of people thought was one of the favorites. We're gonna talk about that for a minute. Hey, the Guardians make a smart move. If you know, you know. We're gonna talk about that for a little second. Might actually leave that. Get on here, get that out of the way. And the Cavs, are they finally turning the corner? Every time they get a couple of wins, we always say, are the Cavs finally turning the corner? Is this finally it? Well, I'm gonna tell you some things I noticed in this latest edition is have the Cavs returned to form, and we're gonna talk about that as well. But of course, before we do anything else, before I do anything else, so you're saying we might be in here, please do me the biggest favor. Go ahead, click, hit that thumbs up. Sub if you haven't already, and turn your notifications on so you know the next time that I am here, aka we are here, talking all things Cleveland, which is every Monday, every Wednesday at 2:16 Eastern. All right, with that being said, let me go ahead and knock out this guard because baseball season is approaching fast. So not a lot of noise in the off season from our boys, which there never is because ownership refuses to spend it. Dude, they are like tighter than Ebenezer Scrooge, ain't they? Penny pinchers. But they finally did spend a little bit of money. They spent some coin. And I must say, it went to the best possible place they could. Jose Ramirez went ahead and signed an extension. Yes, it was another team-friendly deal. So first of all, shout out to Jose Ramirez for not making our ownership look like complete asses. Because, man, he's left so much money on the table. He should be a favorite Cleveland Sun forever. Like, he's earned that route not only by his performance on the field, but for what he's done for the Guardians ownership by not taxing y'all the way honestly he should have, and especially this go round. I know the original signing, he probably felt like the money would go to improving the team, keeping them competitive. I mean, they have been competitive, say keeping them competitive, but making them as competitive as they can be. Competing for championships. Because honestly, and I'm not the baseball purist that a lot of people are. I'm smart enough to not know what I don't know. But as a novice baseball fan, as a casual baseball fan, honestly, outside of the big dogs, the Yankees, you got the Dodgers, and maybe the Cubs and Red Sox. Honestly, the Guardians are one of the top 5 run organizations in baseball. Like how they maintain a competitive team basically on an allowance. They don't have a payroll, they have an allowance. But being able to maintain that competitive nature, always getting manager searches right. Browns, you could take a note, but always seeming to get that right. Always seeming to find players who perform good enough to keep this team in the postseason, keep them relevant. They just won't make that move to put them like over the top. And that's where the financial burden comes in. But this one they got right. So Jose should be like the first player to have a statue while he's still playing, in my opinion. Go ahead and build that thing now. Put it right there out there on Prospect. You know what I'm talking about. We'll put it right there in front of what do we call it now? Progressive Field, aka Jacobs Field. Y'all who remembers the Jacob Field days. But yeah, shout out to Jose. Shout out to Guardians for finally getting it something right and doing something smart. I know they agreed to terms with Stephen Kwan a few weeks ago. Not going, so they're not going to arbitration. But the word on the street is they still may look to move Stephen Kwan. So I don't know if it was we call that a smart move or just um, a move lane and wait. A move something to an end to lead to something else. But we'll see. But definitely shout out to them. Shout out to Jose most of all. It looks like he will be a Clevelander for the remainder of his playing days. And again, well deserved, well deserved. Question for my baseball heads: is Jose Ramirez the greatest Guardian / Indian of all time? I don't know. I think that's a debate to be had, and definitely, I'm sure his play for the rest of his career will dictate as much. But yeah, I think if he's not now, it's definitely a debate to be had. My baseball folks, let me know. All right, with that, let's go and get to these boys. This is y'all came here. This is y'all want to talk about, man. Cleveland Browns. The coaching search is a mess. We're going to get to that. But first, let me say, hey, shout out to the Shadurian Army. Y'all been on the team, the coaching staff, everybody not named Shadur Sanders. Y'all been on them all season. Well, now I'm gonna have to sick y'all on the NFL, and what a farce they are. If you have not heard, and I'm sure the Shadurians have heard, the one thing Shadurians have maintained, the Cleveland Browns just using them to say anything negative that we can use Shador for, they've said it about the Cleveland Browns. We'll go get the NFL, because they proved this weekend. We already know what a farce the Pro Bowl is. Just get rid of it. Just make it like a week-long celebration of the Super Bowl in football. Just make it part of all that. Stop trying to make it its own thing. Just put out a list like the NBA, man. It's time to do the Pro Bowl like we do all NBA. Just put the list out and let's move on. But your boy has been added to the Pro Bowl roster. That is right. Shadur Sanders, if you have not heard, has been added to the NFL Pro Bowl games roster. Yes, it is. They're still doing the flag football thing plus the mini games. And Shadur will now be a part of the festivities. Congratulations to Shadur. Everything that I'm about to say has zero to do with Shadur. It's about the NFL and this farce of why. And honestly, if I was Shadur, this is probably one of the bigger things I'd be on the side for. If I was Shadur, I would have said no. Why? And I know he's in the process of rebuilding his reputation, which he shouldn't have to rebuild his reputation from what happened on draft day once upon a time. And he's mature enough to not be petty. I'll be petty for you, bro. I'd have been like, hell no, I'm not doing it. Why? I mean, face facts. As big of a Shadurian that you may be, or just a Shadur fan or a Browns fan, statistically, he does not belong in the Pro Bowl. No quarterback with his numbers would be it's insulting to the game of football to add him to the Pro Bowl games. What are we doing? This is clearly a time where you want the name on the back of the jersey over the name on the front. Blatantly. This may be worse than the Snoop Huntley selection. At least Snoop Huntley had got victories for a team who was in the playoff hunt. People are injured and or still alive in the playoffs. That fact too. And your choice as a replacement was to grab the quarterback of a 3-win football team? Really? Who only played 7 games in that season? That was your let's go get that guy to sub in. Come on, man. You better than that, NFL. Uncle Scott, shout out to Scott. Hey, man, congratulations on your Patriots making it to the big game. And, hey, shout out to both teams. Shout out to the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots, who will meet in less than 2 weeks' time now, because it's Monday's 13 days in the Super Bowl. And I can't lie. I need this game to come down to 30 seconds left with the Seattle Seahawks in possession of the ball on the 2 yard line, and the Patriots on defense. I need this game to come down to that. I, my selfishness and my pettiness needs this game to come down to that situation, and I need Beast Mode and Sherm and Cam and all those guys on the sideline, because it's a cool thing for alum of teams, not only in college, the alum of NFL teams, to now go and be on the sideline. That's the cool. That's what the cool kids are doing nowadays. So I need this Super Bowl to come down to that moment. Please, if there are football guys, if you're listening, please give me that, man. I don't ask for much. Please give me that. Yeah, Malcolm Butler. Exactly. But inviting Shador, it's just a farce, man, and it needs to stop. It needs to stop. Like, with all the thing, with everything that gambling has brought to football, we seeing guys getting caught for betting on football and all the conspiracy theories that sports is rigged as it is. You want to go and do something like this? That just made, what are we doing? We're better than that. Goodell, like, you got to instate some kind of rules, man. Just like the NBA came up with rules to regulate who is eligible for end of year awards. NFL, we need to do something, man. I know you don't want to go through an actual Pro Bowl game. It's injury. You're trying to be more safety aware. Yeah, whatever. At least do us the favor of not pretending like we're not complete morons and idiots. Is to make a move like this, man. Like, let's do better. But as it stands, hey, shout out to Shador. Hey, I hope you go out there. I hope just have fun, bruh. Have fun. Get the experience. Rub elbows, talk to people, ask questions, get some advice on how you can better yourself in your career. If it was me, that's what I would use this opportunity to do. Guys, hey, do some recruiting. Hey, talk to a couple of them receivers. Hey, man, you ever think about coming to Cleveland? Hey, do that. Hey, people love your personality, man. There's a great personality. Go out there and rub elbows with a couple of potential free agents and trade targets. Do that for us, and then come back and holler at your boy, Andrew Barry. All right, but with that, we get to the mess that is the Cleveland Browns coaching search, right? Because it's been all over the place. People have their opinions, and lately I think Browns fans have started to care about things that Browns fans haven't cared about ever before, right? Like, over the last few years, we've made such a huge deal about play calling. Like, when did play calling become this prerequisite to being anything in the NFL? And why? Because it only counts for half of the coaches, right? Nobody ever, if there's a coach who has a defensive background, we never asked, did he call plays? Did he call? No, that doesn't matter. He's a defensive guy. Oh, he's tough. That's kind of the mindset with that. If it's an offensive, oh, did he call play? We never cared about that before. Don't care a lot. Just give me a guy who's a good leader, a good multitasker, and a good manager. Yeah, give me that. And lately this season, the hot topic is the Rooney Rule. Well, we haven't satisfied the Rooney Rule. Why not? What are we doing? Why are we? As I guess a minority, you could say I am a minority. I would rather that be done the correct way rather than bringing in two people right away just to satisfy some asinine rule that teams always find a way to kind of wiggle around anyway. Don't give me just two guys who never had a shot, an honest shot. You're just bringing them in and you just quote unquote playing the game. I would rather handle it with guys you think are actual candidates, and that's why I never made a big fuss about us not being Rooney Rule compliant, because of the list of coaches. You saw who the two minorities were. It was defensive coordinator from Seattle, Andre Dirty, and of course our final candidate who may actually be getting the job, who I thought was good to get the job, said it last week, and Nate Shieldhouse. those are two candidates, and they're both minorities. With that being said, we did I guess internet interview or online interviews, Zoom interviews, and I guess so. Wasn't a matter of being compliant. It was just they have to be. You have to do two in person to count. That's something I was ignorant to last week. I'll admit that. I didn't keep up with all the changes of the Rooney Rule. I'm sorry. Um, but there are also other rules in place for guys who are on teams who are currently still in the playoffs, with which both of those guys were up until yesterday. So it was going to take some time. And then we get the interview of Anthony Lynn, and whether or not you feel he was a viable candidate or not. We interviewed him, which would then lead to today our interview of Nate Shieldhouse, which would then make us fully Rooney Rule compliant. And once again, even if we say we had never interviewed Anthony Lynn, if Shieldhouse was our guy, I wouldn't have cared if they hired him anyway. Why do I have to interview a second minority candidate if the candidate that I'm going to hire is a minority? And people have had this thing. So they always said this thing, or not always, but we can't hire a coach. We can't hire a coach. No, that's actually false. You can hire the coach. There's just a penalty that comes with that. So if you're willing to accept the penalty, you don't have to interview any minority candidate. You just have to be willing to deal with the consequence of not abiding by the Rooney Rule. And again, if we were to interview, let's say we were not compliant and Nate Shieldhouse was our only minority interview, would the team have been willing to deal with the consequences of not being 100% compliant with the Rooney Rule to hire him? I would have had no issue with that, because it's like what, it makes no sense. And I'm sure Roger Goodell would have saw it the same way. The teams would have came to some kind of amicable, punishment for us not being compliant. So it was never really that big of a thing to me, especially knowing that really, at least from my ears, hearing that Nate Shieldhouse was actually one of the top candidates from the beginning. So, but it is what it is. Brought in Land. And again, word that, keeping my ears to the street, the word is he could potentially be on the staff. We'll see what happens with that. But one name that we're definitely not going to hear from, Grant Udinski. I know he was on a lot of people's, he was the hot name. A lot of people may have heard that the two top choices were he and Nate Shieldhouse. Well, Grant took himself out after completing his second interview. He also interviewed with the Buffalo Bills for their vacancy, but he's removed himself from the Brown search. And again, make of that what you will. A lot of people have been making a huge deal. This person withdrew, took his name out. This X person took his name. Jesse Minter. The thing is, what do we say to each other? Believe nothing you hear, half of what you see. I can believe in that a little bit, especially since the way it came to me, and I could be wrong in the way that it came out, but the way it came to me was the first thing I saw was Jesse Minter being hired by the Baltimore Ravens. About 30 minutes later, I saw a report come out that said Jesse Minter declined to interview with the Browns. Well, I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. He just got a job. Why would he want a second interview with the Browns? So the way I heard it, it kind of came out backwards. But again, people, the mainstream, they got to be first to the headline, right? They got to be first to hit send. And that's another big problem when it comes to these reports. Being the first to hit send, trying to get those clicks. And hey, I'm in the content creation game, so I completely understand. But never would I cheat myself or cheat the people who take the time out of their day to listen to me in trying to be first. I'd rather be right than first. So I'll always make sure I have the best information that I can have. And I'm sure when I'm wrong, our fan base will definitely hop in the chat and let me know. So, shout out to y'all for doing that. But with Mr. Udinski, does he have a leg up on the Bills coaching vacancy? Don't know. But what I do know is he has a deal in place with the Jacksonville Jaguars, his current employer, to get a pay raise. So one thing when you become a hot name on everybody's dance ticket, you can go back to your current employer and kind of renegotiate your own situation, right? That's one of the benefits being in the situation he is. So he's done that, and they're still allowing him clearly to see if he can catch on, get a head coaching job. But most importantly, regardless of whether he gets that or not, or happens to return to Jaguars, he's going to be getting a bigger bag, and he's deserved it, man. With the season that the Jaguars have had, and a lot of that credit is going to go to Liam Cohen, the head coach. But you cannot poo-poo the input that this man has had on that offense and that team, especially when you hear Trevor Lawrence speak on him. Anybody from the offensive side of the ball speak on Mr. Udinski. So, but one thing we do know is he will not be the next coach of the Cleveland Browns. Which brings me to the guy I've thought, I won't say thought all along, but once stuff started coming out, the guy that I thought would win the job, Nate Shieldhouse. And you see a list of a few of his credentials, 2009 to 13. He was a quarterback at the University of Illinois. Red shirt, he sat behind Juice Williams. Hey, for those people who remember Juice Williams, remember Juice Williams was the second rated quarterback in the nation behind one Tim Tebow. One time, Juice Williams and Tim Tebow were the two highest rated high school quarterbacks in the class of 2008. Yeah. And of course, Tim Tebow went on to Florida and do what he did there. And Juice Williams went to the University of Illinois. And they weren't the two highest in the high school class 2008. That's inaccurate. But he was at Illinois in 2008. Nate Shieldhouse redshirted and sat behind Juice before taking on the starting job the following year. And he was a decent college quarterback. He was a solid enough college quarterback for, can we call Illinois a mid-tier college program? Mid-tier, because they ain't a big dog by no stretch of it. They'll have a season every once in a while, but we can call them mid-tier. After that, in 2015-17, he was the AD of football operations and running backs coach, also at the University of Illinois. Also worked with receivers and, from what I understand, a little bit offensive line. So kind of a jack of all trades at the University of Illinois. 18 to 23, Iowa State. He was a running back coach, wide receiver coach. And, of course, more notably recently, and he's on Sean McVay's staff as the pass game specialist, pass game coordinator. And so, working with McVay and the OC. Also, he was a running game coordinator at Iowa State. So, Mr. Shieldhouse, I personally, and again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, oh, man, I know this dude. I know his resume. No, I don't know this. I just know what I've heard recently. And everything I've heard from personnel who work for the Rams, players who have spoken out obviously recently because his name is in the chats. This is all positive. I've heard the same things about him that I've heard about Grant Udinski. If I had one choice for the Browns coach, who would it be? Honestly, this guy. It'd be Nate Shieldhouse. And it's from the realistic candidates we had, right? Because I was never of the belief that Harbaugh would be our coach. I like to try and put myself in these guys' shoes, and it's not even a knock on the Browns or thinking that the Browns' job is which job is better, which job is worse, which you kind of have to, right? But if I'm Jim Harbaugh, why am I coaching the Browns? Why am I coaching the Raiders? Why am I coaching teams like that? No, and you could argue the Giants know better, but just then you go to the talent, right? You look at ownership and you look at talent. The Raiders ownership, and honestly, Davis, boy, I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan of what he's doing to our WNBA team, let alone the Raiders, right? And then you hear the things about Jimmy, like not being able to stay out of his own way, and it's like I would rather go to an ownership situation where at least I'm going to have the freedom to be me, right? To make decisions I feel are correct. Then you look at the talent part. I like Jackson Dart's potential. Obviously, you got Malik Neighbors, Wandale Wright. You got some talent over there. So I'm not mad at him for choosing that. we got, is Sean McDermott a consideration in your mind? Yeah, I would have considered Sean McDermott for the Browns job, but then again, putting myself in his shoes, why would I take the Cleveland job? If I'm taking the Cleveland job as Sean McDermott, as a guy, uh, I've been to the playoff. I've been a head coach 9 years. I've been to the playoff 8 of those years. I've only had one losing season in those 9 years. I've won at least one playoff game, I believe, 7 of those years. With that kind of resume, I've reserved the right to kind of wait, for a job to come around. Honestly, I'm surprised the Steelers didn't make a late run at him. But yeah, for him, why am I choosing the Browns? Why am I choosing a Raiders situation? I've put in the work to kind of wait to another. It's sad to say, I've earned the right to wait till another coach potentially in my situation, you know, is let go or steps aside, right? Um, Maybe Sean McVay is tired. We've heard for the last 2 or 3 seasons, Sean McVay may hang it up, right? Uh, why not wait see if that may happen? Why not wait and see, what happens in Tampa if their season falls short again next, you know? So if I'm McDermott, I think I'd be in that realm. I'm not just taking any old job. So, but absolutely, I would consider him for the Browns, but just never thought that was realistic. Um, Going back to Shieldhouse, I honestly think that I like most. I think about him is he was a quarterback. So quarterbacks think about the game differently, right? And it's not for, oh, I think he'd be great for Shador because I hiring a coach for one guy when he's got to coach 53 is terrible. It's not good business. Um, but does it hurt? No. Uh, the quarterbacks, they just think the game different. If you listen to most quarterbacks speak, and not even only about the offensive side of the ball, right? Because the biggest part of their job is to read defenses, right? Read defenses and execute the play to the best of their abilities, but to the best of what they believe the other team is doing. So quiet is kept. A lot of quarterbacks are also great, have extensive defensive knowledge. Again, because they're studying both sides of the ball. So that's why that part is intriguing to me. Uh, Quarterbacks think the game different. I like the fact that he's worked with multiple positions offensively. Like I said, you see right there, he's worked with receivers, he's worked with running backs. I mentioned before, he even worked a little bit with the offensive line at the University of Illinois. Yes, it wasn't on the pro level, but who cares? Like if we hire Signetti's never done anything on the pro level, right? So that we're quick to disqualify people with what they haven't done. Let's look at what they have done and how those experiences may help them on the next level. Because the cream of the crop candidate, let's face it, we're not going to get. Even if Jimmy Haslam wasn't the meddler that he is, right? Just look at the situation in its totality. After you go from ownership, you look at the rosters. Our roster super appealing? Super appealing? No. Defensively, absolutely it's appealing. But when you look at the things that have to, we're gonna need a entire offensive line, starters and backup, right? We're probably gonna have to overhaul the receiving room as a whole, right? So there's a lot to fix. So and your elite candidates aren't gonna want to deal with that. But I think a guy who has a football mind that this young man has, uh, I, I have no problem with it. And when you look at the person, you look at their boss, right? Look at this boss, Sean McVay. Look at the coaches who have come from the Sean McVay coaching tree, right? They've had pretty a lot of success in there. We can look at let me see. Oh, hit that wrong. Let's see. What is the tree of McVay? Let me go ahead. All right, so here's a list of former Sean McVay assistants, right? Matt LaFleur, who's head coach in Green Bay. Joe Barry, who was a DC uh, in Green Bay at one time. Jed Finch, Kevin O'Connell, who's head coach in Minnesota, Wes Phillips, Brandon Staley, who was the head coach with the Chargers, Zach Taylor, head coach of the Bengals, Shane Waldron, who was offensive coordinator in Seattle. These are guys who have had success in this league. So coming from that also gives me a shimmer, an extra shimmer of hope, right? Because if these guys, and if he's spending all that time, again, because he's the passing game coordinator, and right, Sean McVay is the whiz kid, right? That's what we give him. We've given him that credence, that credit. Sean McVay is the whiz. He's the great and powerful Oz of the NFL, right? How much time do you think Nate is spending with McVay as a passing game specialist or coordinator, as you will? Tons, right? He's working hand in hand with McVay, with the offensive coordinator. So if he's soaking in all that knowledge, and hopefully he's observing other things, right? How Sean deals with players, how he deals with different personalities. The Rams have been a winning organization, so he's looking, not only looking at somebody who's done the job well, he's looking at somebody who's done the job on an elite level, right? So that gives me again hope for the future as well. Not only that, he had to be. How do you think he got the job? How do you think he began working with McVay? He had to be selected, right? So that means Sean McVay himself had to see something in Nate Shieldhouse to even give him an opportunity, right? Absolutely. So, with those things, with the choices being what they were, yes, I had Nate above Udinski and above every other case, even though I did like Andre Dirty, and I thought it would have been really awesome to have a head coach with a British accent. That would have been super sick. I would not have been mad at that press conference. We would have had the best press conferences in the NFL. But yeah, of the legitimate candidates I felt were on our list, I like Nate Shieldhouse the best. And like I said last week, I believe he'll have the job by no later than Wednesday. And hell, if the Browns were smart, they would go ahead and get that deal done today. We flew out to LA, so I would say don't let him leave the building. But in this instance, don't leave California unless you're bringing him back with you for that introductory press conference. So, and again, is it going to be the right move? Only time will tell that. Like I say, I'm hopeful for the future, and again, no matter who gets the job, we'll support that, right? Absolutely. So we can cry, we can whine, and we can debate until the cows come home. But at the end of the day, as fans of Cleveland sports, fans of Cleveland Brown, once that hire is announced, we'll groan about it for 30 minutes to an hour, and then we'll get over it, and he'll have our 100% support to get the job done. So, that was a lot. But then after that, we'll be on to the off season. We get on to the off season, and I'm sure this will probably. I'm looking forward to see, and no matter who the coach is, I'm honestly looking forward to see the introductory press conference. It'll probably be the first time I've ever anticipated watching it and watched thoroughly, because I want to see how many questions the media sneaks in there about Shador, about the quarterback situation, about who's going to be the quarterback, and that how the person reacts to that situation and that stress. And yes, I'm going to call it a stressful situation, because when you have players on your team like a Shador, and I don't mean the talent standpoint, I just mean guys who are a personality, there's always an extra hint of. Shout out to AP. What up, AP? Yeah, I opened with that. And it's a farce, and the NFL should be ashamed of themselves. And like I said, if I was Shador, I would have turned it down. But Being in his situation, he can't. He's trying to keep that image up. I get it. You know, make your name for yourself and get your bread, young man. But shame on the NFL. Shame on the NFL. They gotta do better. Um, but being that Shieldhouse is a former quarterback himself, an offensive mind. Uh, it, and when you look at the Rams' offense, to me, the greatest thing that Sean McVay has done is fooled everybody into thinking that the Rams have this. And say they do have a good passing game. I don't say that, but they have fooled everybody into thinking that's what they're all about. No, Sean McVay's offense is really a power running game. And break down, if you can go back and you can look at it, power running game. Look at the backs he's had. He's got so. Am I a true Shadorian? Am I a true Shadorian? No, I am not a true Shadorian. I am a Cleveland Browns fan. I support the name on the front of the jersey before I support the name on the back of the jersey. Now, there are some players who superseded the team, in my opinion. Joe Thomas, Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward to an extent. Obviously, players in the past, you got your historic players, your Bernie Kosars, Kevin Max, Ernest Binders, Eric Metcalf, guys like that. In recent history, all we got really is Joe Thomas to hang our head on. Joe Bitonio, I'll put him in there, but nah, the player will never be more important than the team to me. So no, and honestly, and I know the Shadorians will probably cancel me for this. If I was the GM this past draft, I probably would have taken Tyler Shuck in the second round. I probably would have made a maneuver and got Tyler Shuck in the second round. I was not a huge fan of any quarterback coming out of this draft, but Tyler Shuck was number one on my board. So I agree. Yeah, Tyler. The only thing, if he had not had the injury history that he had in college, he would have been a mid first round pick, at worst. Hell, we probably would have picked him, honestly, if if he didn't have the injury history he had. But unfortunately, he did. That's part of the game. Taking a chance on can these guys overcome that, and the Saints took the chance and they were right. So, and Shuck can potentially win the Rookie of the Year. Yeah, he can. He's got as good a shot of anybody. This year's offensive round, I'm super surprised that Harold Fannin wasn't a finalist. I don't think he was a top 5 finalist. It was super surprising. It could have been because he missed those last 2 games. If he plays the last 2 games, puts up a couple more yards, a couple touchdowns, I think he'd have been in there. But looking ahead, if Shieldhouse is the guy, I want to see that. Or like I said, no, it doesn't matter who's the guy. I want to see that press conference. I want to see how they handle the tough questions about there's going to be lots of questions about the quarterback situation in general. There's going to be lots of questions about a potential plan for Shador. There's going to be questions about are you leaning towards a quarterback in the draft. There's going to be questions about Deshaun Watson and his future. There'll be probably of all of the questions in that press conference, I'm willing to bet about 65% will be about the quarterback situation. And that's probably the floor. So whoever gets the job, how they handle that situation, will tell me a lot about what their tenure could potentially be like as coach of the Cleveland Browns. Micah missed more than a full month, and he's still a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. But that's only 4 games. That's kind of like almost an average in the NFL, right? If you miss 4 games, that's not a whole lot. You still played 13 games, so that's not a. That might be your border. That might be like the NBA 65, right? 4 games. Let's see how many did he even hit that 13? My God. So let's see. Yep, exactly. Actually, yeah. He's on the ground. He played in 14, started 13. So yeah. I don't got a problem now. If he only played like 8 or 9 games, Yeah, I might have an issue with that. Let's say, but then again, no one should even come close in voting to Miles Garrett at all. Unanimous. Hmm. I don't know. I don't think unanimous. I don't think unanimous. Uh, PS2 might get a vote here and there because he still had a quality season, even though he's the reigning DPOY, right? Um, I'm thinking what's my guy for the Giants was Burns second in sacks. Now there's a couple of guys who are going to get some votes. I'm sure you could get some votes from a few guys on the Seahawks defense, right? Uh, so yeah, I don't think it'd be unanimous, but I think he'll get a majority of the first place votes. So I'm with you on that. But he definitely should win. He definitely should win. Um, and honestly, he could go for a three-peat. I think the crazy thing about Miles Garrett, he's only getting better. Like he's literally hitting his prime. Neither of those guys are finalists. That's crazy. That's crazy. Who are the five finalists? If you got it up, I don't have it up right now, and I'll tell you exactly. Oh, let's see. Miles Garrett, Aiden Hudson, Micah Parsons, Will Anderson, and Nick Petonio. Okay. So yeah, no, not unanimous. I can see definitely Nick getting first place. First place. I can see Will Anderson. That Texas defense was legit. Aiden, of course. Aiden probably win comeback player of the year. To see if he's a finalist for that. Um, and Mike, I mean Micah, if you're taking the season in its totality, I can see Micah getting first because when the season first started, they played so well. He was super deserving. Browns coaching staff. First, shout out to Mama's Homegrown Haven. Shout out to you. Appreciate you, bro. Make sure you hit that like button, like that profile pic. Since the Brown coaching isn't a mess, they have a plan. It's the media trying to portray it as such when that's not a fact. Hey, I'm a supporter of your comment, bro. I believe it too. If you're watching earlier, you see the first thing I said was it's the mainstream. The mainstream making Cleveland Browns fans care about things we never cared about before, like the Rooney Rule situation, right? Um, if our two of our top candidates were minorities, they just happen to be coaching for playoff teams, right? And you have to go. There's certain guidelines you have to follow. One, they can't take in-person interviews right away, clearly because they're still working. So, um, I agree. I agree with your comment, but you know, that's the part of my job that's about clicks, right? I got to say something provocative. Nobody knows what it means. Just oh man. Um, and let's face it, this year for the Browns, the media has portrayed a lot of things in the way they were not, right? So we should be used to it by now. Um, but is it? Yeah. So I mean, hey, throw it in there. Who would you have wanted to see as the coach, or are you good with Shell House? Me, I think Shell. For the last week, I've come to the conclusion that Shell House was going to get the job. I think I started saying that last Monday, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody will correct me if I wasn't. But uh, and I think he'll be hired by the latest Wednesday. And again, I said a few minutes ago, if the Browns are smart, they won't leave California today without having a deal in place with the young man. Hey, Red Jet, shout out. Appreciate you for checking in, ma'am. How you doing this morning? You see, yeah, I'm solo dolo. Like Mike left me hanging. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Absolutely. Hey, do what she says, or she'll hunt you down. But no, shout out to Big Mike. Like I said earlier, he's dealing. He's dealing with the weather like a lot of y'all are. So not mad at him at all today. I'm solo dolo. Yep. Yep, solo dolo on the mic. Mike's dealing with that crazy weather, like I said, a lot of people are in the Midwest and the East Coast. Again, I'm praying for y'all. Biggest part of the reason why I moved out to Vegas. Got tired of dealing with that crazy Cleveland weather, right? And that lake effect snow. What the hell is lake effect snow? Come on, man. You, hell yeah. Everybody out there be safe because it is no joke, man. I hope you got all your necessities and taken care of. Don't be trying to brave the elements because you need some ranch dressing, right? Need some more hot sauce. We ain't, no, don't come on, man. Be smart, people. Actually, that's a lie. I'm one of them people. If I need some hot sauce, I don't care what it look like outside. I'm going to get that.
What?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that. But I ain't gonna be long with y'all. We get to some things to get out. Also, if you missed it, I shouted out the Guardians for re-signing Jose. Matter of fact, let me get the details on that. If they out, Jose contract, 7 years, 175 million, and I'm sure he could have demanded a whole hell of a lot more, but that's what he settled on. So shout out to the Guardians for getting that done. I'm gonna talk about before I get out of here. Last 15 minutes, we go ahead and talk about these boys. Cleveland Cavaliers, right? Season not going the way we expected it at all. Coming off of, I don't know whether you call it a disappointing because we didn't at least make the conference finals. Shout out, bro. What's happening? Disappointing because of the early playoff exit, or whether you were optimistic because the regular season went so great. Whatever you thought about last season, surely you're disappointed the way this current season is going, even with the injuries. Even though we're coming into the season, we knew Max Strus was going to miss a big chunk, right? Even though we knew Darius Garland was going to miss like the first 20 or so games, right? Still, nobody would have expected us to be close to a 500 basketball team. And our whole thing was, hey, man, wait till everybody's healthy. The fact is, our actual starting lineup has played 0 games together this year. And to be honest, Kenny Atkinson, to my dismay, the one thing that he hasn't done this year is define roles. And my whole thing is, just because guys are hurt, you can still define guys' roles, right? And I get it. You had to see what some guys are. Lonzo wasn't on the team last season, so we had to see what he's got, right? See what he's got left in the tank. If he can even get through the season. We know his injury history, right? So I get that. But in my opinion, from day one, Craig Porter Jr. should have been stamped as the backup point guard. Even though you got to see what Lonzo has, right? In my opinion, Jalen Tyson should have been stamped as the starting small forward coming into the season. Even though DeAndre makes a couple bucks more, we got to see what he got. No, DeAndre Hunter should have been stamped as the sixth man from the beginning. That's why we brought him in last year. And honestly, that's to me where he could be more effective. Let him run that second. Let him get buckets off of there. Because you watch him play, or he plays with his head down. If he gets that ball, he ain't passing. He's not passing for an assist. He's passing because he couldn't create a shot, right? So, but these are things that could have been defined coming into the season that I feel like we've been experimenting with throughout the season. It's like Sam Merrill, like at worst is your sixth or seventh man, and if certain people aren't available, then he becomes your starter. You know what I mean? Like maybe if Darius isn't playing, you maintain again. If CPJ's your backup, then yeah, you start Merrill. Like these things could have been defined coming into the season that I feel like we're experimenting playing with, and that could be a reason for the slow start. Right? Guys don't have a lot of chemistry playing with each other. You know, it takes time, but the time is now. The other things, Jared Allen, still same old soft Jared Allen, right? Evan Mobley, maybe not the unicorn people thought he was, right? To me, I never thought he was a unicorn. I thought he had a very unique skill set, though. But the one thing I've always hated about Evan is he doesn't feel coordinated enough, if it makes sense. It's like he doesn't have. If the difference being, we know he's a younger brother, right? He has an older brother who also made it to the league, also played for the Cavs. If you watch his brother handle the ball, he handles it more natural, like more fluid. The most is more fluid. He got a little bobble to his game. Evan is a little stiff with the ball handling, right? And it probably because he's the younger brother. Because if they grew up playing together, who do you think was the dominant person with the ball? Probably the older brother, right? Which would make sense as to why he got a little bit more bobble, a little more sway, a little bit more swag with his ball handling and his offensive movements, right? And Evan was probably to get the rebound guy and the defender, which is why he's excelling at that. And now he's asked to kind of do everything he was never asked to do coming up as a basketball player. But the one thing that he should have done, should have been his whole life regardless, hit that weight room, son. That's what pisses me off about Evan Mobley. Hit that weight room. I'm tired of watching game after game after game and Evan Mobley getting pushed off the spot by guys like Derek White. Got Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray is a point guard. He's 6'4". He's 175 pounds. He should not be pushing Evan Mobley off the block, right? Bones Highland, who was 6'2", 150 pounds, soaking wet, should not be able to push Evan Mobley off the block, right? Now, with that being said, over these last couple games, including going against the Magic the other night, who they'll play again tonight, we've actually seen a more aggressive Evan Mobley. He's been attacking the basket aggressively. He's been utilizing his body, right? Using that chicken wing to push off and create space on the inside. This version of Evan Mobley I like, and I hope we get this version of Evan Mobley for the remainder of the season. Because if we have this version of Evan Mobley, regardless of the point, I'm not asking the kid to go out there and get 25 and 15. But if he can get that consistent, 19 to 22 and 8 to 11 rebounds with everything you give me on defense, because even defensively he's been more aggressive, right? We saw the other night, he's got the heads up block on he was dominating. Let me make sure I get it right, because I was super impressed in watching that game. Sabonis, yeah, when they played the Kings the other night, he had an on-ball block on Domantas Sabonis, and I'm like, yo, this is the Evan Mobley that we needed to be here since day one. And even he's not settling for that stupid jump shot. He's making moves to the basket, aggressive moves to the basket. He's coming in. My thing with big man, if your weakness is handling the ball, the thing I would have those guys work on is a one move and go, right? Catch the ball, make one move, go into whatever your next move set is. And he's been doing that better over the last week than he has probably even going back to last season. And so if we get this version of Evan Mobley for the remainder of the season, absolutely, I'm with that. He did a good job on Paolo. I swear, if I could trade Evan for Paolo, I'd do it in a heartbeat. And it's not even that I think Paolo is that much better than Evan Mobley. It's the mindset. Paolo has a mindset of, I'm going to give you 30. And he's trying to give you 30. His offensive game is way better. And again, he's got that bounce to him, like he's been handling the ball his whole life, right? He handles the ball like all the way like a guard, but he handles the ball like a small forward rather than power forward. And he's strong. He's physical, and he has the mentality like, I am going to give you 30, whether you like it or not. Get ready for it. So if I could take that mentality, if I could take the mentality that Naquan Tomlin plays with and put it in Evan Mobley, I would do that. And I think Evan Mobley would be, at worst, a top 8 player in the league if you just did that transplant. But I digress. I like what I've been getting from Evan the last week, and I hope this is the Evan that I see for the rest of the season, because if it is, combine that with the fact that Donovan's having somehow again the best season of his career. You look at his shooting splits. I know his average is going down a little bit. He was averaging over 30 points a game for a majority of the season. Now I think he's around the 28, 29 range. But if you give me that, and if we get a healthy Strus back, we define guys' role, combined with the fact that Craig Porter has proven he's at worst a legitimate backup point guard in this league, combined with the fact that Jalen Tyson has proven that he is a quality starter in this league, yes, I like our chances going forward. And again, if we can get 100% healthy, it would not surprise me if we went on a random late season run a la the Indiana Pacers. Yes, and especially with the health of the league. And I know everybody, a lot of people are enamored, not Cleveland people, but outside of Cleveland, are enamored with this Jason Tatum might be coming back. It coming back from the ACL. Yes, I know these guys make it look easy nowadays compared to what it used to be, but still, you got to get that trust back in yourself. There's certain things you just have to get used to, and a lot of things that you have to take actual physical contact with. Like, he won't know what he is until he plays in an actual NBA game. And if you don't believe me, go ask Kevin Durant, who tried to come back too early, right? Or ask Klay Thompson, who again tried to come back too early, right? So I know everybody's kind of enamored with what they saw, and I know the Celtics did a great job of putting that show on, but I wouldn't expect Jason Tatum to come back and be Jason Tatum if he were to come back for a playoff run. So when you put it in those terms, Cavs get healthy. Could we go on that Indiana Pacer type run? Absolutely, absolutely. But it's going to take this version of Evan Mobley to make that happen. This aggressive version, this version that says I'm going to come out defensively and dominate you, and offensively I'm going to give you a bucket or two. He may not have the mentality that I'm going to get 30 on you, but he does have the mentality right now that I'm going to give you a bucket or two. You're not just going to try and shit on me on the offensive end, and then come on the defensive end, and I'm not going to try and do something about it. So, and Kenny, come on, man. You getting, like, you making the JB Bickerstaff firing look real bad right now. Real bad, especially with what's going on in Detroit. You're making the JB firing look real bad. And I know there was a lot more, some politics involved in that. Some of it involved Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, he's our dude, but we got to say some of it involved Donovan Mitchell. Y'all are making that firing look real bad with what's going on in Detroit. So y'all better get it together. All right. So, that's it, man. Like I said, I ain't gonna hold y'all hostage for too long. And I hope y'all if you have to brave the elements for your job, just be safe out there. Kids home from school, hey, make sure they good to go. Because I know I still be trying to go outside. But hey, take care of yourselves. Be safe. Remember, if you want to hear more from Big Mike, who's not here, but if you still want to hear more from him, head over to the Man Cave Media LLC YouTube page. Check them out, what they got going on. Lots of good content with Big Mike and Jay and Scully over there doing good things. And also, hey, man, tap in with Network 216. Check Fatty and the guys. Great content over there. Lots of mock draft coming up for my mock draft fans. They'll be doing that over there. I may tap in with an episode or two. See what I can take my hand at doing a mock draft or two. Remember, I need to shovel more of the driveway. Hey, pace yourself. Pace yourself. Don't hurt yourself. Pace yourself with that. And of course, if you want to hear more from me, head over to the Audible Sports Podcast YouTube page. Tap in over there. Me and my homie Wildcard Mar every Thursday and Friday. This Friday we're gonna have a very interesting conversation. We're gonna be listening off the top 10 fictional athletes of all time. And now this does not include any fictional athlete who was played by a actual professional athlete. So you will not see Jesus Shuttlesworth. You will not see Leon Badeau, who's played by Shaq. Shuttlesworth by Ray Allen. No, fictional athletes mean they had to be played by professional actors, not professional athletes. So that should be fun. But other than that, man, hey, again, do me a favor before I get out of here. Click. Hit that thumbs up. Sub if you're new. And turn that bell on so you know the next time that I am here, along with the homie Big Mike, who's MIA today. Good reason, though. Which is every Monday, every Wednesday. LeBron James is a fictional athlete.
What?
Oh, man. That's LeBron James a fictional athlete. Because it's Space Jam, or no? Are you just saying he's just that good that he just looks fake? But hey, I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me and hanging with me, and I'll check y'all out Wednesday. And just remember, hey, when you hear them dogs barking, that means a pound is in the building. So appreciate y'all for tapping in. He's played by an actor. And hey, go Cavs, man. Handle your business tonight. Peace.